What's up, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite wrestling podcast. It is the Monday Night Wave, baby, and we back. We back with another episode. I think this is technically like episode like 32, but it's actually like episode like 66 because we've been doing like pay-per-views and shit like that. But yeah, we here. It's your boy Jay, aka Podson Reed, Pod Breaker, Pod Priest, Pod Ripley. I'm here. You know what I'm talking about. But I have my illustrious co-host with me. The trio is back together again. But first, we're gonna send it off to my boy, the one, the only, Jericho, the Quattro. Take it away.
He is a wild card. He is the king of gorgeous, so handsome. He is Mr. Sexy Ass Luxury. He is Hero.
I'm so mad. I'm so goddamn mad.
And I am he! Glad to be back. What, you thought I was going to do a normal intro because we got more followers? Absolutely not. No. Glad to be back. Shout out to everyone who's who started following us on Blue Sky. Shout out to everyone who's following us on also Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the socials. And like Loner said, I did not show up here by myself because the trio is back.
Triforce, baby.
The trio is back. That is right. The OTC, the other co-host, the bi-weekly co-host of the Monday Night Wave is in the building. Follow me on Blue Sky. That's where we at with it right now. And lastly, before we start, I love you, hero.
Thank you. And I didn't do this last episode because I got cut off. That's right, brother. The Triangle Mega Powers is back, and the powers are so triangular that when I'm driving and I see a yield sign, I don't even read the word yield. It just says speed the hell up, brother. Put the pedal to the metal. There's no cops around.
Even if there was cops around, you'd be able to get out of that situation, wouldn't you, Hogan? All right.
Fuck. Okay. All right, people. Yes. Welcome to another episode of the Monday Night Wave, baby. Yeah, shout out to everybody who follows us on, all the socials, but, in particular, all the followers came from Blue Sky. I see y'all. I appreciate everybody following, everybody who's commenting on, posts that I've made over the past couple of days. Greatly appreciated. But first, let's get into our miniature news cycle today. Hero, what do you got for the news?
So I wanted to talk about this real quick because there seemed to be a crazy discourse about it. So there was the show, the Raw, that was still in Saudi, and there was, I think, the Smackdown last week. Anyway, WWE, they've been taping shows. Now, for me, I personally don't like tape shows as much just because, at least from past experience, they usually come off a little low energy, and there's a damn... Oh, last Raw, I'm sorry, correction. But yeah, last Raw was taped. Or no, this coming Raw was taped. Anyway, it's usually low energy and spoilers come out because I already seen spoilers for this coming Raw. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the reasons I don't really care for tapings that much. But the reason why we're getting these tapings is because in this new regime, they're giving people holiday breaks and whatnot. And the reason I wanted to kind of like talk about it just really quickly is just the amount of discourse that, I don't know if you guys saw it, but the amount of discourse I saw online where people are just really upset about it. And it's one of those moments where is it, one Mike or Uchiwala, like, do we want these people to have workers' rights? Do we want them to see their family? Because that used to be a huge thing, especially in the VKM era where it's like, people worked all the time. They didn't get holidays off. Like, in Triple H, it's been stated multiple times in interviews from like Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, et cetera, where like this man cares about family. He almost lost his life like 2 years ago to his heart stuff. Like, he cares about family. So to me, it's just one of those baffling things where, why are we upset? Like, I get it's a tape show. Again, like, I have my own beef with tape shows, but if it means that these stars can spend a Christmas and Thanksgiving with their children, why are we upset? So that's I kind of just wanted to bring that to the table and see what you guys thought and if you guys even saw any of this discourse at all.
I didn't see any discourse like that. I did see that like the shows were taped. I saw like a couple of the spoilers and whatnot. But the thing for me, I realized I have very like short-term memory. So like if I see some it doesn't really like hit. It didn't sit with me like a spoiler unless the spoiler is like crazy. Me reading a spoiler is way worse than me seeing a spoiler. Like if they like when side note when like Endgame came out and they're like, oh my god, everybody died, and it was like, oh shit, I read that and I was like, it just fucked everything up for me. To where like with wrestling, it's like it's fine. Once again, I'm with you on the side of yes, bro, go hang out with your families. Like you do not have to be on the road for the holidays. Everybody's here. People are flying in, you know, like you need to have that time to also just take a break and just relax. I like the low workload that, you know, wrestlers have nowadays, you know, we're like, hey, like we don't need you. Hey, maybe we can hey, Randy, you're part of this storyline with KO right now, right? We're gonna do the power driver spot, maybe go home for like 3 weeks, come back and, you know, just be regular. You don't have to work that much, bro. They're on the road all the time. That jet lag and like, you know, them sleeping in a hotel, eating hotel food and fast food and shit, that does not sound like, you know, a great like lifestyle to just maintain. So if they can have 2 weeks off due to just taping a show and eat home cooked meals and go home and rest and see family and see your dogs and shit like that, like I'm all for it. Like that's fine. I saw the same thing where I think they had noted that AEW talent preferred to have both tapings back to back. That way they can have like, you know, more time with their families. They'll do Dynamite and they'll do Collision on that Thursday, and then the rest of the week is up for them. It's the same concept. Like work your jobs, go home, rest up. It's okay. Like that's how I feel about it. At least.
In that particular situation you're talking about, it was like, yeah, because you know they had Wednesday and they're like, yeah, let's just tape it. Otherwise, they go back home Thursday and then come film it on Friday. It was like that's a waste of time, like, especially because you know everyone lives in different places. I mean, most wrestlers live in Florida. It is what it is. But you know, there's wrestlers again throughout the country, and you know, with AEW's roster in particular, you know, there's some people like us where they go fucking back to London.
Okada, like, well, they'll go back overseas.
I didn't see it in the news, but Okada apparently had a baby. So congratulations.
Congrats, Okada.
He didn't birth it himself, but he helped, I think, in some shape or form.
He helped at the beginning stages. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. If your idea of traveling for work is from home to your job at the same location 5 days out of the week, know your role and shut your mouth. That's it.
Man, I can imagine hopping on a plane from here and then going to like Atlanta and then going right back, like, and then only having like half a day. Like it's not even like I think they had like one full day and like a half a day, and they're right back on the road.
Yeah, and then there's sometimes they don't even fly. They'll road trip. Like if they have a show in Seattle, they might just
drive.
They'll just drive to Portland.
Fuck,
you know, it's like. It's like, you know, I just got body slammed for 10 minutes and now I got to be in a car for 3.5 hours, you know, and then do the same shit again in like 12 hours.
Imagine you just caught a tsunami and now you got to drive in a Prius 2 hours away. Hey, fuck all that.
And another thing. If your job gives you the holidays off, know your role, and that's right. Shut your mouth.
Facts. Speaking of like being in Japan and whatnot, we saw that Kenny did it looked like an interview with SRS, right?
Yeah,
where he had talked about like, you know, him coming back from like his injury of diverticulitis and how he's now starting off in Japan before coming to AEW. I've seen some people ask like why he's, you know, doing Japan over just going straight back to AEW. And I think he had said something to the effect of he just wanted to give back to Japan. That's where he started. That's where like he got his popularity was from and whatnot. What better way than to come back and just do it in Japan and whatnot, which I'm A-okay for. But I also thought like we talked about on the pod before to where like it just made the most sense. Like the Japan show is like beginning of January. I didn't expect Kenny to be back like anytime before then. So it makes the most sense. I'm okay with that. It's a story. There probably won't be a storyline connected to Kenny now, but let's say after that pay-per-view, you probably have something. But yeah, how do you feel about it? Do you think Kenny should have came back to AEW first?
Yes. And one of the things he said, and you know, next time we'll just pull up all the damn quotes, but it was actually a really long interview. But he was like, yeah, AEW's in a good place right now. They're doing great. They're doing good. And I mean, like, yes, I'm the guy who like shits on it on the show, but if we're going to be realistic, like let's just like realistically, you can't pretend to ignore that the viewership went down, the people in the arena went down. Kenny is one of the EVPs. At least we still believe he is. At least you see that there's been a downward trend. Your in my mind, at least in my opinion, your priority should be this show that you're uh, EVP in.
Mm-hmm.
Like you should come back, even if even if it's just for a random ass match. Like I don't know, I feel like your first time coming back, if once you get cleared, it should be for AEW. I do understand the New Japan stuff, and it's not like obviously Tony's going to let people work whatever they want, so he could still technically work New Japan. But I think your in-ring return after being gone for almost 2 years in a company that needs the extra star power, with the current storyline with shit being taken over, like it also makes sense. To me, I feel like you should be coming to AEW first. That's my personal opinion. I'm not going to like shit on him for it or anything, but yeah, no, I think it's, I don't know. To me, it's weird to be like, oh yeah, they're all just doing fine, they're all just doing great, and it's like, I mean, again, we've been seeing the trends the last year and some change. Like they're going down. They still have the faithful fan base. People still love the show. All that is fine and dandy, but the trends are the trends. And again, like if you're an EVP, like that should be your priority, in my opinion.
There's two things that I kind of want to touch on real quick. Is that one, I was thinking about the story implications of like Kenny coming back. The last time we seen Kenny, he got fucked up in like that stretcher. They tipped him over. They beat the hell out of him and whatnot. And I was like, if he comes back, it's like we haven't seen Okada, but the Continental Classic is in 2 weeks, I believe. Bucks just hightailed it out of there. The only person he could come back and feud with is Jack, but Jack is feuding with Danny right now. So, like, the people that he would necessarily come back and get, they're kind of like booked right now. Unless Kenny pops up at like Full Gear and like helps Danny get the title from Jack, which I don't think that will be the case either. Danny. I think Danny will get the belt from Jack like straight up. And then also like with the viewership, from what I see, is that the only people beating them in the viewership, like for the Wednesday night time slot, was the news and like the NBA. So like if we're looking at it from the standpoint of like, the viewership comparative to AEW or compared to WWE, they're definitely not hitting like those million marks. Like no, like that's
and I'm not trying to compare it to the E. I mean, granted, like it's fun to compare it to NXT, which NXT has been beating them since they went to CW, except for this week in particular. But what I mean with the viewership, because what you said is not wrong, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but what you said is not wrong. It's just like they used to average 9 in the 9s, then it went to the 8s, and it went from the 9s to the 8s to the 7s, and now they've been in the 6s for
a while.
This whole year, and like 3 or 4 different times they've reached their lowest
still
ever.
Slight.
It's
a lot of that could also be like pandemic though too. I don't know. I'm no TV ratings guy. I'm no Nielsen. I don't know any of that shit. But like just timing of everything. But like you said, WWE still hitting their millions and whatnot. NXT is doing really well in CW.
And I just feel like
it could just be.
Yeah, and also since they're retconning stuff, like we've had a whole major retcon. Like, I mean, you're right, because like literally during his birthday, which was maybe 4 weeks ago, they poured a bunch of pig hearts on his cake or something like that. But he doesn't have to like come back to feud with him. He can come back just to have a match, just to boost a rating. He could come back to feud with Moxley. Him and Moxley he could come back to save the company. He can say F the Elite right now because they're not even here. And he could just come back to help save the company and then get jumped, and then maybe the Elite join him. Because, I mean, it's low-key setting up for the Bucks to turn face, which I have a problem with, which when we get there, we'll get there. But, like, to me, there's other things to do. He doesn't have to come back and immediately feud with the Elite, especially when Moxley and the Death Riders are doing what they're doing.
Right. And I think, like, having Kenny come in and save AEW from like the Death Riders and whatnot, I don't know if that would undermine the build that they're trying to do, which is the Orange Cassidy, the Darby Allin, like even like the story with like Wheeler Yuta, because like Yuta's in a very interesting spot to where he's kind of getting like punked by like everybody in the group, and he may have some like, you know, moment where he needs to like step up. So I would like to see the stories play out before we enter Kenny, because like you said, once you enter Kenny, and the whole game changes. Like at least it's supposed to. The ratings go up, and you know it becomes Kenny in like the AEW like championship spot and whatnot, which is stuff that we've already seen before. So I would like to see how they can flesh out some shit without the big star. That way, if they can stay up without Kenny, when Kenny comes, it's just gonna boost them up even more. And I also think that Kenny probably wants to come back when like the production money hits. I thought they're changing like stages and shit, but like in the beginning of the year, like the whole production setup is supposed to be more of like a sports like arena from what I've read before. And I thought that was coming like 2025. So we'll see. But I do agree with the idea that Kenny does bring ratings. Kenny is similar to like the Roman, the Seth, like he's going to generate views automatically. The company misses that kind of like draw for sure. So I am in agreement with what you said about like, hey, maybe you should have came back and helped out your company before helping out New Japan. But also they've been partners with New Japan for a while. Sometimes you got to like, hey, here's my biggest star to help y'all get back on y'all feet, because we kind of like respectfully took a lot of people from like New Japan.
Right, but those ratings don't go down. Like they don't trickle down. This ain't trickle down economics. Like they gotta. I don't know. We're both agreeing, but we're
on the same page for sure.
I don't know. DT, do you have anything to say about it? All right.
Bet. All right. So we're gonna kick it off with this week's Raw. I didn't get the location of where they were at.
I forgot to write it
but
down.
I think that we opened with like the Gunther promo.
Yeah.
You mean the Priest promo?
I mean, it's really the Priest show.
Yeah, I mean, shit.
Because
so you want to go from here, or you want me to take it?
Okay, sure, I'll do it. Yeah, so Gunther opens the show. He essentially calls out Priest. Priest comes out, and I shit you not, he bars him up for like 3 minutes straight. It's funny because he recently did an interview after that Raw, where he said he spoke to Paul Heyman, and Heyman's like, "You've like now the difference between you and the character, like there is no difference between you and the character now, essentially," which is very a la of a Roman, very a la of a Seth. Like once you reach that point where it's like you're not just playing a character, you're kind of just playing like a different version of your own self, then it makes it even more believable. And this is easily one of Priest's, if not Priest's best promo since the main roster. So yeah, it was fire. And then like, so during this thing, Ludwig tries to retaliate, and he's like, "I'm not standing for this shit. You know, I'm like, we're not going to let him talk to you like this." And Gunther stops him. So we're seeing more seeds planted with this, and also with it, which if you notice the last 2 weeks, like Gunther, it seems like his confidence is shot, which Priest also talks about. And he's like, "You're like, ever since you got lost to Cody, like you ain't even the same dude." You know what I'm saying? Like
your aura faded. Your aura, you ain't got the same. Yeah, you're not that guy.
Yeah. And I mean, and Gunther does a great promo too. Like again, like Gunther is next level. Priest really. This was a Priest moment though. Like this opening segment was like, this is why they put the case on you in the first place. This is why you had the run that you had, and you cashed in at Mania. They believed in you, and it's starting to pay off. And now he's starting to find even more confidence in himself, to where he looks way more comfortable in his own skin. Not that he didn't before, but I'm just saying he looks way more comfortable. Again, yeah, the promo was great. And yeah, so yeah, Gunther shuts that shit down with Ludwig. And Ludwig kind of snaps back at him. He's like, "No, I'm not going to let this dude talk to you like this. This is street trash, this street rat, you know?" And then Gunther pops the hell out of him. Or, no, sorry, Priest popped the hell out of Ludwig. And Gunther's just like, "I don't want no smoke right now. I'm good." And it sets up a match for later in the show. But that was the whole opening of Raw, and it was really good.
No, it was really good. I did like the fact that like with Priest, he came out in my notes I wrote like he 8-miled him, because he gave off everything that he said he was going to use on him. Like, "You're going to call me street trash, a bum, a Latino thug, my parents didn't raise me right." And at that point, Gunther was like, "I really don't have anything to tell you." So Priest just laid into him even more, because he knew that was kind of like the basis of his promo. And you're right, because like Priest was definitely barring him up. He was like, your aura fucking faded because of you started doubting yourself, and then faded even more because of Cody. And we've never seen Gunther in the light of him in self doubt. He's always been the confident, the almost cocky, ring general. We never seen him play this kind of like second fiddle, champion.
Well,
So
not to this level, because he like when he looked doubtful before he fought Sammy that second time, but this time it's like he looks like I don't want to say like a scorned puppy, but it's different between him reluctant to fight Sammy versus him like, oh man, I gotta fight Priest again. Like I don't know,
yeah,
like his face, like the way he's selling his facial expressions is like, it looks like his confidence is like really shot. Like it's
yeah.
like I don't know. Do you see any takes?
Yeah, I think just from like an overall view, if you like stand back and look at it, when he was the Intercontinental Champion, he was this all-conquering, dominant champion. And when you build somebody up that high, he loses the belt to Sammy. He goes on, because you got to get him into the main picture. But in order to have Gunther's character be, you can believe that he can be beat, there has to be some sort of cracks in ring work. He's not really getting cracked or beat by anybody in ring. So you have to do it psychologically from a character standpoint. And so right now, what you're seeing over the last 4 months, is that's what they're doing. Like they're chipping away at the, as Priest said, the aura, right? This conquering, dominant character, so that when he does get beat, we go, okay, that I could see that happening because of X, Y, and Z. And so they've already talked about, like, even in the pieces in the promo, they've hinted at it. Like, if I remember right, Priest says something to the effect of, like, you're good on the first round or whatever the case, but when someone keeps coming at you, that's when you start to falter. And so, like, that's what they're planting that seed of. He might not get beat the first time to lose the belt, but the second time he faces that same person, whoever is now studying and learned his moveset, that's going to be the person that can dethrone Gunther, which makes Gunther more believable to be beat. So that's just my...
Yeah. And I think
I
think Sammy said something
concept.
similar as well also. And I had another piggyback off of what you just said. And I forgot it, so never mind.
What do you think about the idea of, the Ludwig situation, to where, like, is Gunther turning on Ludwig? Like, why is he scolding his boy? What is the reason behind that?
Because when you're not comfortable and confident in yourself, and you don't believe, when someone else try to hype you up, you don't believe it. Like, that's just kind of what it is. And so now he's taking out his frustration and his anger on somebody he can beat up, somebody he can smack around, that kind of thing. But when you stand in toe to toe with Priest, who, when y'all wrestled last time, it was a great match, and he took you to the edge, like, that's someone that's on your level. So it's a little different if you start to try to take those shots and swings at them. So it's same thing y'all saying. This is confidence right now, but he's in a space where he could be beat.
Yeah, and okay, so I remembered. And also, another reason his confidence is shook. This is the second time Gunther's been pinned this year, and honestly, it's the second time he's ever been pinned since he's been on the main roster. So it's like he lost twice, and he went from not losing for like 2 years to getting pinned twice in the same year. It's like 4 or 5 months apart. So so to piggyback off what DT was saying, it's like, it's starting to psychologically, it's like I took 2 L's this year. Like,
right?
Would you haven't taken an L in like 3? So it's I think it's hitting him differently psychologically.
It just real quick too. The way you'll know it, to me, just the way that it's going, is Gunther's gonna start doing things uncharacteristically. So like when Hero first introduced me to him, he was like, "Yeah, bro, Gunther just give people hands. He stay in the ring. He don't use no weapons. Da, da, da. So when he starts getting desperate, you're going to see the opposite. And the first time he picks up a weapon and tries to use it, whether he connects or he doesn't, that's going to be a shift in like the WWE universe seeing Gunther like, oh wait, this dude is scared of getting beat. So like when he like say him and Priest go at it and it's getting down to the wire, it's false fall, whatever. Gunther's going to get desperate. He's going to reach for something or he's going to encourage cheating. And then that's when it's not him going from like heel to face, but it's like heel to like super heel. Like I smack anybody around. Even when I was in the ring with Cody, I still lost, but I was smacking him around. But now I'm about to lose my belt. I think that's when you'll see like a psychological change in like how he approaches his matches.
And before he attempts to grab a weapon, I bet the first time is going to be like him trying to win a match by ring count out. I feel like that's going to be that first step. It's like, oh wait, he's acting different, and then that second match, he'll grab a weapon or something. He's like, oh no, his confidence is shit.
I could see him where he's telling the ref to count somebody out a little bit more aggressively than he did before, or paying attention to those kind of things. But yeah, I do like that idea of like the first time that Gunther grabs a weapon, it's going to be like, what the fuck is happening here? Yeah, that's gonna be kind of cool if it does play like that. That'd be hella cool to see. We find out that King Coda's back. Dakota's back from her injury, so we see that Damage Control is about to have a match before the break and whatnot. But before their match, Kof is backstage. Woods is backstage, or they're talking the Truth and whatnot. Kof thanks Truth for helping him out with his Final Testament and whatnot. He also apologizes for not having his back. And, Woods is over there like, why are you even, like, apologizing? Why are you talking to this dude? It wasn't our issue and whatnot. And we see Pete come in. And Pete starts some shit with Truth and whatnot. And Kof is like, or Pete's like, hey, we got some shit to handle. And Kof's like, you ain't got nothing to handle with Truth. Woods once again is like, hey, it's not our issue. Let him fight his fight. And now we see that it sets up Pete versus Kof later on in the night. But I want to get the overall thoughts on, where we see like the New Day thing going right now. Of course, they have a match later on. Or he has that match later on. But before we get into that, like, what do y'all think? And isn't next week like the 10-year anniversary like of the New Day? Is that what they're like promoting for Raw next week? Is that like the big?
If it's not next week, it's the week after. But I think it might be next week. I want to say their debut it's 20-something in November, I think, that first match that they debuted. But it's definitely close. And as far as what I think, like, honestly, it's so on the nose in the sense where it's like it looks like Xavier is going to turn heel if you're used to wrestling tropes, that I feel like, and I'm praying that this is their Hail Mary, but I feel like E has to come back, whether it's in ring or whether it's just like, on screen, like, y'all need to chill the hell out. I don't know, but again, they could still go the route where it's like, Xavier's he's fed up with this shit, and I don't know, the fact that they're having like not a reunion episode, but like an episode that's like slightly dedicated to them, which we talked about before, it's like it's something that we should definitely be thinking about. And what is going to happen, because this could either go festival friendship route or Big E returns and as the mediator and be like, y'all need to stop this is not what we were about, yada yada type of thing. I don't know.
Do you think?
So real quick, it's November 28th is the 10-year anniversary, but because Raw's on a Monday, it'll be December 1st per Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's probably the episode before the first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's say hypothetically, they come, it's the New Day 10-year anniversary and whatnot. You got Woods in the ring, you got Kofi in the ring, you got E in the ring. Any chance that during a possible breakup, that Woods just says fuck both of them, and he attacks Kofi and then he attacks E, maybe he's not ready to come back yet and whatnot. You don't really see people who get injured hop back in the ring, like who have real injuries end up in the WWE ring. I haven't seen that happen at all, to be honest.
Edge and
so if
Edge was one of them before he got cleared, but that was like
did he get?
2014. He wouldn't.
I'm
Like,
like, was he a part of?
He was part like it because it's what set up. It was like years in the making, and no one knew it was going to happen. But like, so this was when Seth had the blonde streak, and he still had the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he was threatening.
Mhm.
He was threatening to stomp Edge's head into the case because of his bad neck, and that's like when Cena
Mhm.
came out to do something, which eventually long term booking set up the feud between Edge and Seth once Edge got actually cleared. So that's the only example I can think of in recent memory, just based off of what you said, was like because Edge was not cleared at all whatsoever, and then like he was in the ring and he was part of a storyline. He didn't take any bumps, but they were threatening. Seth was essentially threatening to break his neck again by stomping.
So let's say hypothetically, maybe not a chair shot to like ease back or whatever, but if Woods puts the chair around the neck of E, like, not only do I think that stratospheres you or just shoots you up into being like a big fucking heel, but it also continues a nice feud of like, man, you did this to like your boy. Like, this is like, it's really, the New Day's over if you do that. I think that'd be a really cool fucking touch. I don't know if it will happen, but I do think that at the 10-year anniversary, it's going to be more red wedding rather than power of friendship. At least in my
red wedding and everybody dying, and I don't want no
How often has Kofi worn that Majin pendant?
I've been noticing that too. I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, but I did see him wear the Majin M, and that was definitely on display for sure. To where if Kof turned heel, it's like Kof as a heel.
I mean, he could just be tired of Xavier trying to run the show. He keep messing up. Every time we in a match, you interfere.
Yo.
I just asked you, don't interfere in a match. Like, it could just. That's it. I don't want to read too much into a pendant.
Yeah,
but
Kof turning heel would hurt.
Yeah,
in like a solid way though.
But yeah, it could be a good. It could be a good swerve from we're expecting it to be Woods. And Kofi could just be like, you know what, man? Nah.
The next match is the Damage Control versus Pure Fusion. Do you guys have like any like thoughts on the match or whatnot?
It was fine. I'm glad to see Coda healthy. I'm glad that she's back. Other than that, I got nothing. I really like Zoe Stark, and I'm very good on Shayna. And when I mean good, I mean I like her. And I like Sonya, but this PFC shit is just it ain't it, dog. The name is bad. The name is bad. They still come out again very auraless. If we're gonna be hip, it's just
bland.
It's very bland. It's three color grays walking out. I don't know. They got to do some. I don't know.
No, that's the right answer. They got to do something. They came out. It was dry. It was dead. The only thing I have about the match is I don't know if they did, but I'm just gonna say I really wish they would have rehearsed the match more for Coda's sake. I don't think it was a good showing. I get it. She's coming back from an injury, but she should have had some more warm-up time.
Okay. Fair enough.
In my opinion.
We get a Jey Uso segment backstage with Sammy.
And Jimmy.
Yeah, and Jimmy. My bad. All three of them are there.
Come on.
They're looking for a fifth.
They're looking for a fifth. They're looking for a fifth member for War Games. Jay says they have no friends on Monday or Friday. Zayn says he might know somebody, and Jimmy's mad suspicious of who the hell Sammy knows that will possibly be their fifth. We find out,
which is flagrant. If we see, I mean, it's not a big deal, but that's a I can't say the word right now. Can you say the word?
Flagrant?
Thank you.
Gotcha.
Suspicion of Jibby based on who he talks to later, which wasn't like a big deal, but we see him in the background talking to Braun Breaker. Almost said the word. The dude who just took your brother's championship. You gonna talk to him?
Yeah,
But you gonna be suspicious.
I saw that too.
Yeah,
I was like, the people they're asking are just these are terrible choices to ask. Like,
I mean, no pun intended, but you need some. It's War Games. You need a dog. You need some dogs.
you do,
Especially
but not
when
the
you
dude
talk
who took your brother's title.
Yeah, no, that's a bad choice.
How about you don't need anybody? There's 4 of y'all. 4v4. You don't need anybody.
Yes.
I don't understand why they're in search of a fifth.
We will get into this in SmackDown. There's a lot of people who don't. I mean, real quick, there's a lot of people who don't like the that they need 5 people for this match. And honestly,
yeah,
I semi agree. But we have to
have 8 people.
We have to let it play out. It's not being. Was SmackDown bad? You said SmackDown was a really good show.
SmackDown was great. SmackDown it was a great show this week. It's more so like you said, like the 4v4 would have been perfect. This 5v5,
I can predict it right now. The person that they pick. No. I'm not gonna say names. I'm just.
We might as well later. Give us.
Yeah, we'll do it in SmackDown.
You want to wait?
Hold it on SmackDown.
Because actually, right. I have 2 questions about the show, and it's. I want to.
Yeah, we'll hold it on SmackDown.
So we get the Kofi. We get the
Pete versus Kofi match.
Yeah, we get the Pete versus Kofi match. It was a cool match. Again, a good showing for Pete because we haven't seen him since he lost the Sheamus feud. There was a moment where Xavier kind of cheats and Kofi's like, "What are you doing, bro?" Like all this other stuff, and he's like, "Focus on the match. Don't look at me. Focus on the match." And it sets up Xavier or sets up Kofi taking a L. And Xavier's like, "See, just focus on you."
Yeah, turning his back to him while he gets pinned is savage, bro. It's like I try to tell you, like use my help. And my thing is like, why is he mad that like your boy is helping you win the match? Is it the way he's helping you win the match, or is the fact that he's interfering in your match?
I think it's a little bit of both. It's kind of similar to the Gargano Ciampa thing that's going on, and I know there's. It's also similar to like Willie Yuta had that experience right before Death Riders like super went to Death Rider mode, where it's like you have one person trying to be a face, it's like let's just win the right way, let's just let's do this fair and square, and then you got the other half where it's like I'm done doing this shit. We got to get these W's. We got to get the W's. However, we got to get them. If it means me hitting him while the ref ain't looking, then damn it, you take advantage of it, type of thing. It's just it's more dissension essentially. I don't know if I answered the question.
The touch. I did. I did like the touch at the end where Woods is like, you're just not focused. Like you focus on the wrong things, and technically, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong because he didn't have to have this match. Although Kofi did get pushed because Pete did push him. I would have tried to fight a person too.
Yeah, but you got pushed because you jumped into a beef that wasn't yours. You should just let R-Truth get handled.
Well, the way the conversation starts is Truth and Kofi talking. Then Xavier Woods pops up. Hey guys, what you guys talking about? Oh, nothing. And then Pete comes out of nowhere and shoves Kofi. He's like, "Hey, you called me Butch last week," and Kofi's like, "Hold on, bro.
That reminds me.
You almost stepped on my sneakers. I keep on
also in that
ninja."
They were talking about. Well, it would seem like Woods was talking about him behind his back. It seemed like because Kofi is talking to Truth about like hey, sorry about Woods and everything like that, just apologizing, and Woods is kind of like, "Hey, what the fuck? Like, what y'all talking about over here? You talking about help? You talking about apologies? No."
Here's the problem. I have to go around because you have an attitude and you don't like how you've been acting and your matches and all this other stuff. I have to go around and broker peace between all these people because every time you come around or you're on the ringside, you're messing up. You sat there, you let R-Truth get jumped, said it wasn't our problem. You got a problem with this person. You got a problem with LWO. You got a problem over here. I'm trying to fix things. You keep messing things up. So no, you don't need to be here while I apologize on your behalf because you keep messing up. I'm tired of you messing up. I'm about to smack you in the face. Heel turn.
The best thing about it is that they both are right and they both are wrong in their respective parts, because like Kofi was wrong for not telling Woods about asking LWO for help. Woods has been wrong on several occasions as well. Like, they're both justified and they're both wrong. It's one of those moments where it's like you just gotta talk this shit out off screen.
They've been talking. That's the thing. People keep saying they got to talk. Every time we see them not on screen on social media, they've been bickering. At the end of matches, they've been bickering.
Yeah,
when no one's around, they've been bickering. So maybe we don't need to talk. Maybe just brother to brother, we need to squabble just one time. Let's just get it out. We'll squabble. Sometimes you got to do that, and then we'll be done.
Yeah, but we're not at the point of squabbling yet. Not much, like
we not.
I don't.
We're not.
They don't need. They don't need to squabble yet.
How long has this been going on?
If you
into August,
if you include Odyssey Jones, yeah, probably since August.
Yeah,
but most of it's miscommunication. You got to fight because of a miscommunication.
Okay, we've been trying to
miscommunication like 4 weeks ago. What happened? We played Dragon Ball Z and we talked. They just got to play Tekken and talk. You just got
bro. If they're I'm gonna leave it. We could transition, but no.
We got a Judgment Day promo.
Dom bars up Finn.
Yeah. How do we feel about that? How do we feel about Dom stepping up to Finn like that?
He should.
He should. Finn is one of my favorites, as well as DT's. But I'm also a hater at heart, also. So I do appreciate Finn being a hater, because it's like, what you be, bro? You got you chicken tendy ninja. You trying to take my spot, bro? This is I'm trying to get the world championship, bruh. So I
struggle it.
I feel it. I feel it. But at the same time, Finn is being a huge ass hater. At some point, you gotta I don't know, man. You married to a hot wife? Take a walk on the beach, bro. I don't know. Chill.
It's funny because Finn is the tag champ, but you can tell he don't want this.
I'm done.
He's so fed up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In reference, the line was, Dom said he can take Priest out, or he says that he points out that he beat Priest and he has been closer to the world title than Finn has in a long time. So, yeah, that might get you
mm-hmm.
I mean, it is. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it is. This ends up to where they end up setting up Dom and Carlito versus the War Raiders next week.
To soften them up before the tag match.
Yeah, exactly. So they can take out the War Raiders, or like you said, soften them up. We got a Bronson Reed promo where he's out there. He's calling Seth a hell of a competitor.
Correction. Dripson Reed, because he was dripped out. Man, hey, he had that shit on.
Dripson Reed. Okay.
I did.
Seth,
I did want to point something out about Bronson. I'll let you finish the segue into it.
Okay. He called Seth a hell of a competitor. He proved that when he got the victory over Matt Crown Jewel. He then says he's not a competitor, he's a monster. Last week he not only took Rollins out, he took out Damian Priest and Sheamus. He'll take out anyone who stands in the way of him versus Rollins.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Stuff comes out also having that shit on. You know what I'm saying? He had the stud shoes with the half black leg, half green leg with the jack. Bro, that shit was fire, bro. Shit was heat, bro.
You know what? Go ahead. A brawl happens, right? They end up, scrapping because these two men hate each other, and rightfully so. There's a lot of history between the two. We see that Pierce comes out, my bad. after it breaks out, Pierce talks to Seth backstage. And now he's saying he wants to have one more match next week against Bronson Reed. Yeah. How we can't really, I can't say too much because shit happens in SmackDown, so I already know a little bit too much. But I will say that like the Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins shit has probably been one of my favorite shits on like Raw. And actually just in WWE in general. It's one of the few times where I've seen that like you took like there's no title between the two, and you still trajected somebody into like, you know, mid to like main event status with Bronson Reed. And to be fair, Seth did say, "I will make you famous." So, job well done, Seth. But DT, you said you had something to say about Reed here.
Yeah, two things. One, just on his presentation. So, I think, and yes, obviously we know he's going against a big timer, in WWE, a main eventer. But I think now the way he's being presented, him coming out in his shirt, jeans, and some J's, it speaks to what they think of him, because before he only ever came out in his wrestling gear. So now they're allowing him to, one, show his personality, two, obviously he's got merch to sell. So he is going to end up being like a main event guy. The second thing, his music, now that he's at this level and he's Big Bronson Reed and, you know, he's supposed to be a kaiju, he's still putting his claw up. They need to put some sort of version of a Godzilla roar at the beginning of his music before his music hits. It needs to be like something that's loud and catches you off guard. It can be similar to the sound. I don't know if they can use it or not, but they need to find some sort of like big monster kaiju sound that separates his music so you know it's him when he's coming instead of just his music. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
No, it is. Something to like signify like this character is coming. That way you know exactly what to expect and whatnot.
Genuine, what's the difference?
It doesn't have to be that specific noise, but yes, something to that extent. If they wanted to use, or if they could use the most recent Godzilla roar from the most recent movie before, but there needs to be something. It needs to be something that puts fear. Not that.
Okay.
Not that. That sound like a little a hatchling from Jurassic Park.
A hatchling?
Yeah. I love me some Jurassic
Park.
Anyway,
Jesus
that's
Christ.
it. Those are my only two things. That's my only two things.
As we see that, like, you know, Pierce walks away, Sammy then approaches Seth and asks him to be the 5th member for the OG Bloodline in War Games. Yeah.
Sammy has a good he has a good what am I looking for? A good pitch. He has a good pitch. He tries to go for the heartstrings. But it does not hit, because unlike you, Sammy, Seth isn't just going to make friends with Owens every 3 weeks after you guys fight and all this other BS. Sammy, like, Seth hears everything he says, and he's like, "You have to be out of your mind. I will never team with Roman. If I ever see him in the mat, or if we're ever in the same ring again, it's only because I want to stomp his head in." And I was like, "Yeah, talk your shit. Let's go."
No, it's facts. I like one of the takeaways is that Rollins is like, he knows who Reigns really is, and he's shocked that anybody would stand next to him, especially Sammy. But it's true. If anybody knows how Roman is, it is Seth Rollins.
Right. And he also mentioned he called him a tyrant, which I was like, "Oh yeah, all right, good choice of words." And he's like, "Yeah, I did everything in my power to take him, to bring him down. You want me to help you bring him back up? To build him back up after I did everything to bring that tyrant down? Are you kidding me?"
Well, he made the tyrant. Part. He made the tyrant, so blame himself. That shit's still not finished. So he can't talk about what he tried to do. Yeah, he did.
He didn't make him. He didn't. No.
Yeah,
Roman.
Are these the consequences to my actions?
Yep.
No.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's a part of it, but it's not the whole thing. You know,
it's a huge part of it.
Where's the accountability at? What about that whole like 2 weeks he was getting covered in dog food? You don't think that made him into a tyrant?
Here, how about this? Here's how you know. The belt was on the line. He had a chance to get rid of Cody Rhodes, and instead, what did he do?
He hit Seth.
With what?
The chair.
Where?
On his back. We
Okay.
don't do headshots here. Hey, look. Look, that's great storytelling, but that doesn't mean he created the tyrant. Both things can be true.
Tyrant.
Okay.
Damn, that's
they teamed up so many times after the chair, the original chair shot breaking up the Shield.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then man got covered in dog food. Then he became crazy.
Okay. Wait. Since we're just going through history,
Okay.
what happened at the Royal Rumble?
Seth wins by DQ because Roman can't control his anger, his temper, which we've seen when he snaps on Jimmy and Jay the previous week. He has an ego problem. Seth didn't give him that ego.
Why?
Because he's an egomaniac. Haven't you been listening to Jay and Jimmy?
What did Seth do?
Oh, he showed up in
Didn't
Shield
that nigga
gear.
come out in Shield attire?
Yeah.
That
the
nigga's
music.
sick.
It's called
With the
Mind
music.
Games.
And through the crowd.
Okay.
That's a great moment, bro. That's
Mind
a
games,
great
baby.
It's a
moment.
fantastic
It's
moment.
getting in the head of your opposition. What are you talking about?
We might have to watch that one. That's a great moment right there.
I was very upset that night.
So,
But it's a good
that's it.
match.
I don't want to go down.
He was already a tyrant
the road
at
of
that
history.
point, so he's just poking the bear. He was already a tyrant at that point.
Bro. If we're brothers and we fight, you gonna take it back to a low moment? That's a low moment.
To get in your
Call it what
head.
it
I'm
is.
trying to get in your head so I can get the belt.
And so guess what? I'll never let you do that again. What'd he say? Roman, let go. He won't let me let go.
Yeah.
I can't let go. He won't let me.
Okay, again, he's not taking accountability. Are you listening to the stuff that Jay and Sammy be saying?
Anyway, let's stay current.
Okay. Catching back up to today. The next match was Priest versus Ludwig. What's the thoughts on Priest versus Ludwig here?
All I wrote was Priest wins, which means it was a good match, and there wasn't much to really say.
Yeah, I didn't have too many takeaways from it.
Ludwig is great. Obviously, they're like they believe in him. He's going to get a hell of a run once he goes single.
He's about to be single real quick.
Damn. Wait, Tiffany left?
No,
that's a joke. Oh my
we
God.
find out.
I know.
We find out next week that it's going to be Braun Breaker versus Sheamus. We also see that, and this is where we find out that Jimmy approached Braun to be like the fifth. You see him in the background talking to him, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. I would have super kicked my brother immediately.
In the face.
Then we get the Miz Final Testament Wyatt 6 promo. What you got here, Hero? What you?
So Final Testament find Miz. Miz is like, look, I'm just trying to be me. I got to get out of this situation. Y'all got it. And Cross is like, nah, I don't like that. We're going to take him to the ring right now. We're going to call it twice, and I'm going to break your legs at the same time. We getting this shit active. He's like, nah, I don't like that. Nope. My wife hit me up at a hotel to find you, even though I said you was dead. You alive? You here? You breathing?
And you want to back out?
Nah. We taking to this ring. We breaking your legs. I'm calling out that Uncle Howdy weird ninja. We calling them all out. But yeah, it was a good segment. Wyatt show up, and Miz is the one who throws the first shot. He hits Big Red Eric Rowan with the chair, and Final Testament, they get the upper hand. They beat the hell out of the Wyatts. Scarlett even gets her hands dirty. She takes out Nikki Cross. AOP does her thing. We see the Wyatts vulnerable. I I mean, it still ends with Howdy laughing a little bit, and some Joker shit. But we see the wives vulnerable; they get taken out, and Testament stands tall, and they're like, they crazy, but they ain't as crazy as us.
This is good.
My takeaway: this is the first time I felt good about a Final Testament segment ever.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was focused. I felt like there was a reason. Like everybody was active. Like this felt like the best Final Testament segment. Actually, it is the best Final Testament segment I've seen.
It is. They actually got cheers, I think. So
yeah,
they usually get no.
Side
reaction,
note.
So.
I don't know if I like the Howdy mask. I don't know if I said that before, but I don't know if I like the Howdy mask in action. Something about the way like the hair sits and like just when it's supposed to be like a very intense, like aggressive moment, it's like this man's taking the hair and like whipping at his face. It's very minor. It's just a me thing. But I don't like the mask.
You don't like the salt and pepper Cat Williams hair, just throwing it back real quick, pause.
Not doing it for me. Not at all. Yeah. We had a Solo in Seth promo, where Solo approaches Seth in the parking lot or right before he leaves and whatnot. And he's like, I know you don't like Roman. I can't stand Roman. Why don't we just take him out? Why don't we just, let's just be friends here,
We had our differences, but look, I don't like Roman, but I would never team with a fake Roman either.
Man, and
then Jacob gets in his face, and Seth looks at him and is like, try me. I'll stomp a wolf out too. He'll get back up, though. He'll get back up.
Yeah. I don't know if Seth want to bark up that tree. That tree might fall on him.
Bro, Seth ain't scared of nobody, baby. You know what this is, bro? This is an architect.
I don't know. That man got hit and walked away from Punk.
He was doing his job. He was wearing a referee shirt. He had a job, and he was doing his job. He tried to get the lick back, and then what happened? He got 6 tsunamis.
He wanted no parts of Philly Phil. That's crazy.
He wanted those parts, and then a tsunami came. He wanted it.
A big tsunami.
6 of them.
Wash that boy away.
And now Phil been gone. Drew been gone.
That is true. We haven't seen Drew in a minute.
That's good.
I mean,
it is.
He did have a bunch of stitches in his head.
Yeah,
he was fucked up. Respect.
But
they took it to the limit.
I expected to see at least one of them back after Saudi, but they might be waiting for War Games. And honestly, there's a chance that it might not be Seth, even though it more than likely seems like Seth will be that 5th. But there's a chance. There's a lot of theories that it could be Punk.
What, DC? What you got?
So I had to hold on to my predictions and get my off, and he just blew up the whole spot at minute 57.
I didn't blow up a spot. We can go back. I was just throwing it up there.
Main event time.
Cut it out. Timestamp it. Cut it out. DT's upset.
see, and then
take it out the show.
Pre-pod, you bringing the pre-pod to the pod.
It was at 57:42. Take it out. I didn't say nothing.
Oh my god, this motherfucker here, man. Main event is Liv and Raquel versus Jade and Bianca.
It was a fun match, but it gets to the shenanigans really quick.
The shenanigans,
really quick, and it's all a setup for ladies' war games essentially. But really not much to talk about. I mean, it was chaos. It wasn't bad chaos. It was just like, okay, here we are with chaos. But it's shit.
There's so many people here. Fuck.
Tiffany and Nia Jax show up out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then Candice also. So those 3. So you have your 5 heels. You have Liv, Raquel, Tiffany, Candice, and Nia. At least that's what it looks like. And then eventually EO comes out. And who else helps? Naomi. Naomi comes out.
Yeah, Naomi.
And since this Raw is taped, there's spoilers on who the 5th member is. We're not going to say it on the show. But it seemed like this.
Text me because.
Oh, you didn't see it?
I didn't see it.
Well, no. You can just watch. Just watch Raw.
Yeah, that's true.
Just watch it. Just watch the show. I'll text you. But yeah, so this was all essentially to set up War Games. It was a good match. The baby faces retain, like they do get a good pin. Bianca pins Liv, so in my mind,
That was my only caveat. I didn't like that because this was like there's no connection between Bianca and Liv right now, right? Like Bianca's doing well, at least for like the women's championship. I understand from the tag team perspective there is beef there, but from I was like, why is Bianca pinning the women's champion when Io's in the match and Io is the next up?
Io wasn't in the match. She just showed up. It was a 2v2
that's right.
match.
Io did show up.
Raquel probably should have took the pin since Io is the number one contender.
True.
But it does give. I mean, it's also like we talked about it multiple times. It's also Bianca. Like she is literally like the John Cena of the female or the women's division. Of the
Deservingly so.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Okay, real quick. There's rumors that Becky might come back for January. That should have been on the news bracket. We did not talk about that, but there's heavy implications that Becky will come back possibly for January.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Dude. Anyway, we now ignore what I just said. But yeah, so it ends with the baby faces standing tall. You see 4v5, and then this coming Raw, we will see who the fifth member is, and that will be the women's War Game match. So on the heel side, you have the two champions. Then you have the Money in the briefcase winner. Then there's Candice, who I believe is still the Speed Women's Champion, and then there is who the hell was I missing? Raquel. So yeah.
Does the babyface lineup make sense to you as far as like on the heel side? It was like, okay, I understand. You got Nia's team, and then you have Liv and Raquel. That makes the most sense. But also, it kind of doesn't because like Nia just took out Liv.
Liv just beat Nia a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I think the babyface team makes more sense, but it's also same with Blood and Guts, same with War Games, where you're going to get heels. Like last year, it didn't make that much sense that Drew teamed up with New Day, not New Day, Judgment Day, but it made sense in the sense where it's like Drew really wants his damn title match. Seth happens to be in the match also, whatever the hell. It makes sense in the most simplistic form. They could have made it make more sense if they really had the time to flesh some stuff out. But if we're just saying like just a basic story implications, it makes sense. You got top baby faces, you got top heels.
Just keep it simple. Just take the two biggest heels and the biggest baby faces, put them on the team. Let's run this shit. I respect that. Any closing thoughts before we get out of Raw? No objections here.
No,
cool.
It was,
perfect.
Yeah, it was a good show. Starts with a women's match, ends with a women's match, which also happened with an NXT, and I believe also happened with SmackDown.
It's on SmackDown, yeah. It's a lot of women's wrestling, and the SmackDown one was good. Yeah. I did enjoy that one a lot too.
Yeah, both matches were heat.
So. Cody opens the show. Cody Rhodes is calling out Kevin Owens for Kevin Owens' atrocious crimes that he did against Randy Orton last week, which is the pile driver. As he calls out KO, Aldis appears. Aldis says that Randy has severe cervical trauma. There's a reason that the pile driver is outlawed. We don't want this new generation in wheelchairs. And he says Kevin crossed the line. And until they figure this thing out, he can't have Kevin Owens here. Cody Rhodes is not having that. Cody doesn't want to know. He ain't trying to hear none of that at all because your boy, Kevin Owens took out my boy, and you're not gonna do nothing about it. There's no consequences, no repercussions, no nothing.
I thought Cody had an opportunity in my mind. Obviously, since he's been back and been chasing a championship and got the championship, a lot of his motivations have been emotional ones, like tied to family. So it's within his character. But he had an opportunity, and I can't remember the exact line, but he had an opportunity to essentially be like, you're not going to give me what I want. Like, I'm the face of this company. I got to defend this title. this is who I want to go up against type of deal. Like, I thought that would have been an awesome moment for him. But of course,
that would have gone.
Cody sticks to it. What?
Sorry, that would have gone against what they're trying to do, which was the whole "this is a different KO, he's dangerous." It would have gone against the whole rhetoric that Aldis and Triple H said against for Randy. So if like Aldis just openly gave him this shit, then it would have negated all that, which is why I feel like they didn't do that. But what you're saying is not wrong.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm not saying his motivation. I'm just saying the motivation should have been different in my mind. Like, you can see, you knew what it was when Cody got in the ambulance and went with Randy off jump. You knew what it was, but we all know that Randy's been looking at the title. Eventually, Randy's going to attempt to get that title,
right,
whether it be from
because he's got his ass
Cody or
whooped
whatever
multiple
case.
times being friends with Cody, and that's going to take its toll on him. Yeah.
So,
but overall, really passionate promo.
The promo
was well received online, at least.
It was good. This promo, I wrote my note. I was like, this is the first time where I felt like Cody was top dog. I felt like he controlled or demanded what he wanted. A lot of times, like, Cody's just coming out, you know, and somebody's approaching him. This is the first time where Cody's like, fuck that. You come out here. I'm calling you out. And I like seeing that from the world champion. I like seeing you be the one dictate the direction of where your defense goes, or, you know, you calling out somebody. This felt more like
he did this with AJ also.
A lot of like anger, frustration, and regret, because he was like, you know, this all happened because of me. Like, you attacked Randy because you was mad at me, and I kind of like the fact that like there's a little reflection in that as well, to where you see that like Cody is realizing the consequences of his actions. You know, this
is my fault. I had to be the one to call his family and tell them that this happened to him, and that kind of deal.
I like the promo. From the looks of it, from what we've been seeing, is that like this KO versus Cody won't be at Survivor Series.
No, it's gonna be Saturday Night Main Event, which is what I predicted. Yeah.
Do we feel a kind of way that it won't be the world title or Cody's title defended at Survivor Series, or we're okay with the way that this is kind of trajecting towards Saturday Night Main Event?
I think it's fine that it's not, for a couple of reasons. One, because if you're going to keep it even, like Roman didn't defend his title all the time at every PLE, that's one. Great. You want to have the John Cena schedule, that's cool. You can still take some time off. Two, it gives them chance to flush this story out instead of rushing it. Like, they're rushing another important story. So just take the time that you got. Like, it's cool. Like, he was just in Crown Jewel fighting Gunther. I changed KO's name in my notes too, or Kevin Owens' name. His initials are still KO, but his name is now Crash Out Kevin.
Oh, for sure.
So I'm spelling the crash with the K. So they should put that on a shirt. Write that up. Print that up.
Just Crash Out.
Crash Out. This
leads into the triple threat match for the Women's USA tournament, and I believe it was B-Fab, Bayley, and Candice in this match. My quick notes from this was that B-Fab looked fucking phenomenal.
That's what I put. Had a great showing.
Yeah,
great showing.
If I can get like 40 seconds, because I don't want to say like, I don't want to post the meme like, I was unfamiliar with her game, because I've seen B-Fab work, and there was a moment on the show early in our recording where I gave her and Maxine, I was like, yo, just send them back to NXT or do something different, because it seems like they don't want to have them work, yada yada yada. This is another moment where I'm happy to eat crow. She's been working in the dungeon. There was just videos that came out with her working with Natalia, and I agree with you guys. I agree with most of the internet. B-Fab looked great. She definitely has a future. The presentation was good. That was our first time seeing her have a solo entrance ever, I think, except for maybe the NXT match that she had, because the only real true match, like, for people who were like really in the trenches, like really saw the shit, like, it was her and Elektra Lopez in NXT, and this was when Swerve was still part of the Hit Row, and that match was rough. It was really rough. And so it's awesome to see the growth very again similar to what happened with Maxine, because that match with Rhea, again, like you and I talked about it was rough. She was off of TV for a little bit. She did some stuff on house shows, and she popped up a couple times, and she's a lot better. And yeah, BFAB completely she grew, and I'm glad to see her work, and I hope to see her more. So yeah, I just want to say I'm eating crow right now because I know yeah.
What is for Hit Row? What was his oh, there it is. His name just came back. AJ Francis. So when he got released, he had been singing BFAB's praises for a long time because people was making jokes that he got released and they kept BFAB, and he said BFAB can really wrestle. She can go. She just needs an opportunity, and I think that was like a year and a half ago. So just throwing that out there.
No, he's not wrong. I do remember the conversation that he was talking about where he was talking about Maxine and BFAB, and I had said like just opportunity. Like, just give her like a chance to grow, give her some training and whatnot. And you see, like, that has came out and she looks good. And not even like just from like the wrestling standpoint, but just production standpoint too. Like, you look good on camera, the ring gear look good, your entrance look good, and that's very important in WWE. It's like the whole package of everything. Of course, I knew going in that she wasn't going to win this match. That's fine. But it was like you still went out there and made a name for yourself, like, and I hope that they can still build with that and give her more opportunities and whatnot.
Right. And she got some extra camera time even after that, which I feel like them also be like, all right, we're fucking with you. So I feel like this is the start, and if everything goes good, this is the start. And she had a good showing. Again, majority, like, I haven't seen anyone on the internet say anything bad. Not that the internet is the end all be all. We already know that it's not, especially in the wrestling community. But it seems like she actually really impressed the majority of the people. Hurricane Helms was like, man, there was everyone, like a lot of people were in Gorilla just waiting to like give her praise because they like people have been invested in her. Like, people fuck with her. Obviously, like, people like her. In the industry and fan wise. So it's really good shit. Really good shit.
Next match was LA Knight versus Humberto. There's a quick LA Knight promo before that where he says it's not the Logan Paul championship. We're not just going to defend this 2 times a year or whatnot. So he's looking for an open challenger. We see Legado come out. And at this moment, I thought it was going to be Santos again. He actually mentions that, like, I've already fought you. I'm not going to fight you again. Did that. But I haven't fought you over here. So I'll fight you, Humberto. And he ends up, it was like a daddy reference where he ends up saying that Electric can call him daddy or whatnot. But yeah, anywho, we get LA Knight versus Humberto. Quick takeaway from the promo, though, is I wish that Santos got more of a pop. I wish that there was more of like just meaning behind like him as like a heel. But other than that, I felt like it was another solid match. I thought the bunny hop to like the elbow drop was really cool. LA Knight gets the win post match, but we see the return of the King of Strong Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, at the end of the match. He's back. He looks like a dark fucking Jedi. And he's targeting LA Knight. What are your thoughts on Shinsuke returning? Are we happy to see he's coming back after LA Knight? Would you like to see him go against somebody else? How do we feel about this? What's the thoughts?
Me, turn this shit up, turn that shit up. My wife was also super happy because she was asking about Shinsuke like the other month. I'm a huge fan of Shinsuke. I'm fine with this. I hope it's not the same story with like when he had the feud with Cody / had the feud with Seth when Seth had the title. I don't want to see Shinsuke continue to lose, but I'm happy that he's back. I think this will be a great feud. I'm very interested to see how the promos are going to go because even LA Knight just had an interview where he's like, oh yeah, sometimes I go off script, sometimes I come off the cuff, which if you listen to him, you can tell that happens sometimes. So yeah, I'm just curious to see how the promos are going to go or the face-to-faces, but I'm again, turn the shit up. I think it's a great feud. If you're not going to put Shinsuke in the main title picture, which right now obviously it's Cody, and we saw him and Cody fight like fucking 10 times last year, then I think the mid-card title is good for him in this position. So
solid. Now we get to the good shit. It's a Bloodline segment coming up here. They all meet in the ring or in the room waiting for Roman. Sammy lets him know, or everybody's hesitant to talk to him. Sammy's like, fuck it, I'll talk to him. And lets him know that between Raw and SmackDown, nobody wants to team up with him. Mm-hmm. They just have too much history with everyone. And from that point, we hear Solo's interest music hit. They're watching through the TV, say, fuck that, it's time to go all war, and they head to the ring. We get the lineup of Solo, Jacob, Tama, Tonga, Sammy, Jay, Jimmy, Roman. All out fucking brawl here. From here, we see that as they're brawling the ring, looks like Roman gets the upper hand. Boom. We see Big Bronson Reed comes in and attacks Roman from behind. Big Bronson Reed is now the 5th member of the new Bloodline. We get a mean fucking moonsault by Jacob Fatu into a tsunami from Bronson Reed. And I just thought to myself, this shit is unfair. You can't have the motherfucker do moonsaults and then on the opposite end, you got the fucking tsunami. There's no way that this is fair. I don't care who you are. Ain't no team beating that. Not happening. Roman goes on the spree, though. He looks like he's powering up. He's kipping up. He got Superman punch after Superman punch. Immediate spike by Solo. Moonsault. Tsunami. You just like the rest of them. How do we feel about Bronson Reed being the 5th member of the new Bloodline? And then on the opposite end, how do we feel that potentially means that it might be Seth as the 5th member of the new Bloodline? Potentially. It hasn't happened yet, but if we're going off of like rivalries and everything like that, are we okay with Reed over here and Seth over there? Do we like Reed over here but not Seth potentially? What's the thoughts? Let's go with DT, Mr. Bloodline, our Bloodline analyst here.
Oh, wow. We talked about in the first little block, you only really need 4 people, but they're pushing through with 5. They're going to push through, make us watch it. It is what it is. I think it's opportunistic of Bronson Reed, that's great for his character. I think ultimately it's just going to come down to those two are going to cost the OG Bloodline the match. That's what I think. That is the short version of what I think. I think their feud is going to spill over into War Games in a way that's going to cost the OG Bloodline the match.
Now, from a Seth Rollins fan perspective, does this wash away everything that he did for Cody if he joins Roman? Do we accept that? Like, is it okay that if he joins Roman? Because I personally don't think that he should, but I haven't seen any spoilers from any pre-tapes. I don't know if it got confirmed or not, so I'm not sure.
It did not.
But if he does that invalidate what happened last year?
It was this year.
Or this year, my bad.
Are you asking me or are you still talking to DT?
No, this is you.
Oh, because you said from the Seth Rollins fan. I thought we were all fans.
You the Seth Rollins fan. If he Bloodline analyst, you the.
That's fair. I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna say no. And the reason I'm gonna say no is because I'm gonna use my trusty "let it play out" flag, and let's let it play out. I think they could make this story make sense easily. Like if Sammy can come back, they can make it make sense for Seth. It doesn't mean things have to change, or it doesn't mean that what happened at Mania is completely negated or it's completely just useless or it was for nothing. There's ways to make it make sense if the writing is good. As far as Bronson goes, I think Bronson is a good addition. Obviously, he's from Australia or New Zealand, one of the two. Or I want to say it's Australia, but he not only he looks not in a stereotypical way, but he looks the part. I want to say he is part Samoan or something to an extent, similar to like Dakota Kai. Like he looks the part. Like he looks like he fits in his family. He looks like the cousin that shows up every once in a while. So it's not. It's to me, it doesn't look out of realm. I don't think he's going to be the one to take the pin. I still think it's going to be either Tama or Tonga because you want to still keep Reed strong and you want to keep Fatu strong and you want to keep Solo strong. So I think if the new Bloodline loses this match, which I think they might, depending on, I mean, based off of what happened at Crown Jewel, then I feel like it's definitely going to be Tonga, if not Tama, that will take the pin. There is still chances that it's not Seth, but obviously it looks, now that Bronson Reed is a part of it, it looks like it's highly going to be Seth. The chances that it's not, it will be slim. There is still a lot of fan theories that the other person could be Punk, because Punk was a Heyman guy, which if we're going to go to a quick spoiler, Tribal Chief tries to finally call Heyman after 2 months, and there's no answer. It's like a dead phone or whatever. Which there's some like I do want to get into conspiracy theories or speculation a little bit later, but it could, if it's Seth, there's a way it can make sense. And again, it's a wrestling thing. Like, how many times have Triple H and Shawn Michaels teamed back up together after they almost killed each other 30 times? You know, like, it's wrestling. You can make it make sense. If the writing is good, you can make it make sense. I wouldn't be upset with it. I think there's other things you could do. I'm not upset with the people that are like, oh, it could be 4v4, because I said it earlier, like 4v4 would have made more sense. That's what we all thought. So this 5v5 is actually a swerve. One of the reasons I like this swerve, if I may quote Mills from the A Show, like having someone like a Bronson Reed, someone who's credible, someone who's a threat, acknowledge Solo, that makes Solo's credibility stronger. Like when you have, like with Roman, there was other people that acknowledged him, even though they didn't like have to feud with him or anything. Like there was other people that acknowledged him as the tribal chief. Like there was the moment with Apollo Crews in the background of him and those two talking. Like when even before Sammy joined the Bloodline, he acknowledged the tribal chief. So like having outsiders that aren't a part of this bloodline vortex, having people actually acknowledge you, like, yeah, like you're that dog, you're that dude, that makes it more credible in an umbrella term, or just like even people who are like aren't super tapped in. So I like the fact that there are other people finally acknowledging Solo, because this is the first time someone who's not in the bloodline is acknowledging Solo. So that makes his claim a little more credible and it makes him a little bit more believable. So I do like that. I don't know if I answered your question, but
No, you did.
I'm not. I wouldn't be upset if it's Seth. You can make, like, again, like they feuded multiple times. They came back. Like we saw the Shield come back twice. We saw the Shield come back together even after Mox turned on Seth and said some shit about Roman's leukemia and all this other stuff. A couple months later, they still did the fist bump. It's wrestling. You can make it make sense. And in this new regime, the writing's better. We just have to let it play out and not just like super overly judge it. But if it comes out bad, we have every right to critique it, and we can call a spade a spade. But I feel like this is one of those moments we have to kind of let it play out a little bit.
Yeah, it is wrestling, right? People team up all the time and whatnot. I just think the difference is the emotional investment in what Seth had to do, right? To where like Seth's whole giving his body up for Cody to win was a huge emotional piece to the Bloodline story. So Seth joining Roman isn't the issue for me. It's Seth joining Roman and the Bloodline. Like these are like, that was a group that you were determined to like take down. Like it was in his, like, that was his whole will, was to break down the Bloodline structure and whatnot. So I'm not against it. I'll just say I'm indifferent about it, because at this point it's like, I don't think that it was worth it. I think Bloodline should go out there 4v5 and just try to figure this shit out, because nobody wants to fuck with you. I think that's even the bigger story, is that nobody wants to help you. You done fucked over so many people. You have to realize that you are on your own now, and he's just getting stronger.
There's a chance that, like, let's say Seth does team up, and they, like, you still have the, because like the women's one last year when Becky teamed up with Charlotte, and she really didn't want to team up with Charlotte. It could be a very similar thing, and we can still get the Seth versus Roman main event or WrestleMania match the following year. It could be, again, it's it's a frenemy situation. Like sometimes Lex and Superman team up. It's rare, but it happened. Like if the writing is good, it can make sense. If the writing is bad, again, we can call a spade and be like, this shit was shit, and this didn't make any sense.
What I think will happen, because Bronson Reed fights Seth next week, we're gonna have bloodline interference in that match. Yeah. Bronson Reed for sure is not solo. He's not by himself no more, and that kind of gives Seth the incentive to kind of like jump in this because you jumped in my business, I'll jump in your business kind of thing. I could see that the way that they play it out. It's fine. But like I said, it's just like Seth, you're gonna team up, and if he does team up with them, I want this to be like you can hear the mic in the ring where he's like, I don't fuck with you. Like I want to hear like Seth tell Roman like this is not a thing. I'm only here for him and him only, that kind of thing. I want there to be a lot of tension in the ring being told via mic or emotions of the face and whatnot to kind of really portray that like this is a one-time thing. We're never going to do this shit ever again.
There are going to be opportunities that Roman could be laying face down or whatever the case, and Seth could be in the corner and just look over and stare. Because he literally just said, if we're going to go canonically and based on how it's going, the next time I step in the ring, it's going to be to stomp his face in the mat. So you can't. The reason I don't like it, and Hero saying it can be saved based off of writing, which to me, if you have an idea that has to be saved based on writing, then to me it's not a good idea. Like, and that could just be because they should have just left it at 4, and that's how I feel about it, whatever the case. But in order to have that play out in the match, there is going to have to be tension. There's going to have to be a moment with a chair. That's a callback. There's going to have to be a moment where a potential stomp. That's a callback. But at the end of the day, it's going to be Bronson Reed and Seth doing their own thing. And I think, like I said, I think that the OG Bloodline is going to end up losing because they have a nuke. They got a nuke and they got a kaiju. Like, so.
And there is always the chance that they do a red herring. There's a lot of speculation that Heyman is going to bring in Punk. But there's also a lot of can we get into conspiracy theories real quick? I mean, there's not really we can talk about the tag match real quick. Nothing happens. DIY Ciampa interferes, and he also pushes Gargano. But there's no title.
They
changes.
fucked over Profits,
and it looks like Profits are going to turn more heel soon because Machine Guns. They tried to pick up the Profits, and Dawkins slaps the shit out of one of them. I don't remember which one. I think it was Sabin. So it looks like they're going to act. It looks like they're going to turn heel, and that it actually might stick. Compared to when they tried to turn heel with Bobby and they beat up Rey Mysterio, and like people was like cheering for it.
But real quick before you,
the women's thing, that should be the last thing.
We'll talk about the women's. Just real quick about the tag. Prior to the interference from Ciampa, they were fucking rocking. Like,
oh yeah.
They were doing a really, really good fucking match. And I was like really invested. I was like, okay, shit, he's about to put old boy on the shoulders, and I know where Ciampa comes. I'm like, fuck. I knew he called it out, but I didn't expect like the match to be like that fucking good to where like I wanted to see them finish the fucking match. And then Ciampa comes out. We knew the interference was happening. It was just disappointing to see. But
since we're not getting Cody and KO, we might finally get a tag match on a pay-per-view or PLE like you asked for the other week. So
I'll take that.
Fingers crossed.
I'll take that. Yeah, the conspiracy theory. What you?
Because it's so again, it's like, why didn't Heyman answer his phone? There's speculations like, oh, well, that's because
he broke the phone.
Yeah, but it's Heyman. He's an agent. He has multiple phones, right? He could get a phone.
Which one did he break, though? Did he break the Rock one or he break the Roman one? He had 2 phones.
He broke the kayfabe-wise, he broke the Rock, or he broke the Roman phone, right? So there's so many fan theories that are going out right now. So it's like, okay, either Heyman is just not answering, he changed his number and just never hit him back up. Mm-hmm. The other one is Heyman's going to side with the Rock because he's upset that he was abandoned, right? There's maybe Heyman calls Brock, and Brock is that 5th person. Or Heyman calls Punk, and Punk is that 5th person, or it's going to be Seth all along. But how does Heyman come back into this picture?
If we do it correctly, right? Let's say, hypothetically, Bloodline does jump Seth on this Raw. I wouldn't have Seth show up on this SmackDown and I wouldn't have Seth confirmed that he's going to join Roman and them on the next Raw. I would have it at the pay-per-view where like we'll find out exactly who this fifth member is, like via Paul Heyman coming out and then somebody's music hits. That way we have like the element of surprise for it. Because if it is Seth, cool. There's a reason behind it. Bloodline jumped him. He put him on a shelf for a week, if not, or whatever. Cool. If it's like Punk, man, I don't even know how you would do that. But it would make sense because Punk was at Survivor Series last year and whatnot. Once again,
I called in a favor from a former advocate of mine, or no, agent of mine.
Once again, still Punk inside Seth's business by, fighting Bronson Reed, who is not his fucking problem. So you could further the storyline there if you wanted to a little bit.
True.
Lesnar is a stretch. I don't want to see Brock anytime soon.
Nor do I.
But it would pop for certain fans. It would be a huge pop for certain fans. I mean, for sure.
I don't want to see him, and I would still pop if I saw Brock.
Like it would be a huge pop. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, as far as like the CM Punk one makes the most sense. I can see that happen because he is a Roman guy or Heyman guy, like you said. It also ties in the story with Seth and whatnot,
and it ties into a future story with Roman because him and Roman had a lot of beef off screen based off of Punk's comments and whatnot.
But it's also like, why would Punk help out the bloodline? It's like
he's helping out Heyman. Y'all. He's doing a favor to Heyman. And
has there been like a Heyman Punk connection on TV? Have we seen that? Like, has there been like a moment where like they cross paths or anything like that?
Not since Punk returned, I don't think. But
there has been.
Oh, there has been. Okay, so then once.
Yep.
So, but he was a Heyman guy, so it could be Heyman. I'm calling in a favor. I'm calling in a former client, and then also set like similar to what they did with setting up a future feud with Punk and Seth. It will further set up a feud with Punk and Roman because Roman doesn't fuck with Punk, based off of some of the stuff that Punk said when he left the WWE, when he had his podcast with Cabana before they stopped liking each other, all this other stuff. So it could set up multiple story implications.
What do you got,
DT?
Make
sense. It doesn't make sense.
Talk to me.
And the reason why it doesn't make sense is because before CM Punk left and he said he was going to be gone for a while, he said his next target was Gunther. He's not going to come back on a favor at a PLE that he hasn't wrestled in. Or not wrestled in, but he has not wrestled since Bad Blood. The first time we see him coming back at a PLE in a match like this does not make sense. If you're playing the role of he's older and just before he had the match, he literally said, I don't know how many of these kind of matches I have in my body to do that. It just doesn't make sense to bring CM Punk back from that standpoint. So I don't
from like a Hell in a Cell to like a War Games. Like,
yes, it doesn't make sense because if he literally just said, I don't know how many matches I have like that in me, then why would he have two within a 4-month span? And he has not wrestled in 10 years or whatever the case. 3 years, whatever. So to me, that part doesn't make sense. The other option, Brock Lesnar, if Brock Lesnar was to be the one, which that also makes no sense, Brock Lesnar is literally just going to destroy Roman and it's going to be the same thing all over again. That would be in Brock's character. It makes no sense for Brock to have 4 or 5 matches against Roman from one all the way back from whatever WrestleMania that was where Seth cashed in all the way to now. They've had like 4 or 5 matches. They're constantly pit against each other for them to then be partners in that space. And it be the first time we see Brock. I don't think they're going to reveal him that way because they need to see how the WWE Universe will respond to him. So those 2 options to me don't logically make sense, nor story-wise either. I think the only option is Seth Rollins.
I agree with GT. I think, but if I had to put it in like an order, obviously Seth makes the most sense, but there's a way that they can make Punk make sense. Brock makes the least amount of sense out of all 3, at least in my opinion.
Fair. Main event time. Before we get to the main event, there's a quick little promo that happens between, Bayley, Naomi, Bianca, and Jade to where Bayley's backstage and she's hyping up Naomi, saying, hey, I got your back and whatnot.
Which Bayley won that triple threat. I don't remember if we said who won that triple threat, but Bayley won the triple threat. Okay.
Bayley won the triple threat, But we can see here that when Bianca and Jay comes in, Bianca's like, "Oh no, we got her from here. She's good. We have her back. We're gonna look after her," and kind of forces Bayley out the picture. Still showing remnants of Bianca don't fuck with Bayley.
No, it's funny. That whole... she got along. She trusted EO quicker than she still trusts Bayley.
And that was gonna be my question. It was like, okay, we see you with EO, and that's okay, but Bayley is like, nah, I just do not have no feelings for her. That's true. It is true. But EO was also in your ass too.
Yeah. Yeah, theoretically. She's the one that took the title, but if it wasn't for Bayley, then that probably none of that would have ever happened. Technically.
Yeah. So yeah, it ends with Nia versus Naomi, women's title. Quick like stuff they're saying before the match or during the match is that it's been 7 years since Naomi held gold. At least singles gold. She has been, women's tag team champion, of course, earlier than that. Also, Naomi's gear looked fucking fire. She was out, looked fucking amazing. Nia came out with the all red too. A couple of spots I got in here is that Nia had a nice little pop up Samoan drop that she's been perfecting. It has been looking good.
She had a pop up headbutt.
Yep. As the match is going on, though, we see backstage that Liv and Raquel get some revenge on Jade and Bianca. So there is no help from Bianca and Jade for Naomi coming. Tiffy comes out to interferes, kind of distracts Naomi. Nia hits a fucking nasty leg drop on Naomi and goes for a power slam off the turnbuckle, but that gets countered by Naomi into I think it was like a pin. Overall, these women out here having a fucking blast. The match is going fucking crazy. They're doing, they're looking great. Bayley comes out to help Naomi to neutralize Tiffy. Naomi goes for the split-legged moonsault, and Nia kicks out at 2. And at this point, the crowd was fucking tight. I ain't heard so many boos because they thought Naomi was going to win this.
They started
they were literally upset. The Milwaukee crowd did not disappoint because they was tight. And rightfully so, because at that moment the momentum was heading towards Naomi. Like all she needed to do was hit this, and you saw the look of defeat on Naomi when she was like, "Fuck, this was not enough. I thought I had it. This was it." She goes up to do a second one. I believe this is where Candice hits Bayley's head into the ring post. Naomi drops. It sets up another. No, it doesn't set up a. Yes, Super Samoan drop.
Yep, I got to go into a super. What I put a fall away Super Samoan drop.
Yeah, and the thing, I think in the commentary, Cole was like, she didn't really have to go and do the Annihilator, but she did it anyway. The Super Samoan drop was enough, and it was. That shit was fucking crazy. But Super Samoan drop into an Annihilator, Nia retains. My thoughts was that there was a lot of bodies that were a part of this match, both in ring and around the ring and backstage. I like the 1v1. I want to see the story implications of how does Naomi feel that Bianca and Jade said they were going to be out there and they weren't out there?
They got attacked.
They did get attacked, but in that moment it's like, where the fuck were y'all at? I don't know that y'all got attacked just yet, of course, but if wrestlers are smart, they'll watch replays.
Well, and shit they're smart now. In BKM era, no one watch replays. She'll see it.
Bayley was the one to help her, and I'm pretty sure Bayley's going to show or say that to Jade and Bianca at some point to show hey, I was there when y'all wasn't. But outside of that, I did like the trio of Candice, Nia, and Tiffy. I like the look. I think that's a good little pairing right there. Overall thoughts? Any closing statements we got on the women's match?
Good match. I also like the pairing. I think it sets up a good story with Candice trying to be the new teacher's pet sort of thing even before Indy left. It sucks that it has to be shenanigans, but you have to make it make sense. You don't want Naomi to lose clean because obviously they're keeping her strong and whatnot. So I am fine with it.
Thoughts, DT?
Yeah, I had quite a few little notes, but I got Nia Jax at 104 days of reigning champion. I think she's been absolutely dominant. Obviously, she lost to the exhibition champion versus champion match, but outside of that, she's been dominant. Obviously, she's had help because she's a heel. I put they were absolutely working in the spot that I don't know how to describe that spot, but I put OMFG. What a spot!
You talk about the counter.
That off the rope
that
flip
counter.
counter. Yeah, that was insane, especially because we know why it was insane.
Well,
it was a great match.
Yeah, Nia doesn't do a lot of top rope stuff. Most of her top rope stuff involves Naomi. I mean, in their family. So I saw a tweet. It was like, yeah, it seems like all her top rope risk always having Naomi in. It's probably because she's family. She trusts her and whatnot. But all right, before we end the show, because this show is going long, this is about the women's U.S. title. Unless, Lauren, you have anything else to say about the match?
One last closing statement before you talk about that. I think I know where you're going, but hold on. I know we can't say Women's Wrestler of the Year for Nia, but can we say Most Improved? Nia's had a phenomenal fucking year, and it's way better than before she came back. Like, Nia coming back has been on a tear, but I think Nia's had a really good fucking year. She's definitely improved a lot. I'm thinking about all the matches that I did enjoy. Like, one of the big ones was the Queen of the Ring. You know, her and Lyra was like, that moment there kind of like set off the chain of events that Nia was going to go on a fucking tear. But I think I can put Nia in like the Most Improved for sure.
If we're doing this based off of a year, like a calendar year, then I feel like it has to go to Michin, because Nia showed back up at Rumble, which was in January, but she didn't like sign back to the company, I want to say, until like February or maybe even March. So if we're doing like a calendar year, I feel like most MVP most improved, or I'm sorry, yeah, not MVP, but most improved. I feel like it might have to go to Michin. But if we're basing it off of since Nia has returned, and if we're basing Nia's return based off her last like actual run, then she's obviously like, I mean, and you and I talked about it before. Like, no, like she's leagues ahead of before she got released, and like she went through like her healing and whatnot. Like
knee surgeries and everything. Yeah,
she is so much better than what she like. She found her niche. Like her comedy's always been good, but her comedy's even better. Like everything that she has been doing has been better. So she's immensely improved. But if we're basing it on a year, I'm gonna give it to Mia Yim. But if we're basing it off of like 6 months, yeah, no, it's not yet, for sure.
What you got about the women's title?
Okay, just real quick, let's talk about the U.S. title real quick. All right, so oh no, I lost it. Please say us. All right, so we talked about it last week. And that's before the bracket came out, and we're like, obviously, all of online is choosing Michin or / Mia Yim, and I'm fine with that. You and I talked about our picks. My top three was, except for Mia Yim, my top three was Chelsea, Naomi, and then I forgot who else. Charlotte was one of my wild cards, but I forgot who else was that. So as of right now, with this tournament, the available people that are still in this match is Bayley, Bianca, Chelsea Green, Blair Davenport, Jade Cargill, Michin, Piper Niven, Naomi, Stratton, and Elektra Lopez. So, based off of who we have remaining, DT, you didn't get to choose your picks, but obviously I know you're part of the Michin should probably be inaugural. A lot of people are. Now, I'm not saying it shouldn't happen, but based off these remaining picks, does anyone have a different opinion? Does anyone think, or are we all just saying it should still be Mia Yim, or what? Because I'm highly leaning towards Bayley and Naomi now, especially not since Naomi lost this last match. And I do, because what you said last week is like, oh yeah, Naomi should still stay in the main title picture. Also, you can argue the same with Bayley. But also, to one of your arguments, you were like, oh, it should also be someone super credible. And I think those two would be the first good champion. So my question is, does anyone have any different picks? How are we feeling about these last remaining women right now?
So I'm glad you asked that. First, I wish this was like singles and not triple threat, but that's a different day, different kind of subject, different kind of topic. I'm looking at this from the standard babyface heel, right? We got our first babyface in Bayley. She won. Next up, it looks like we have Bianca, Chelsea, Blair. I have a feeling Liv and Raquel will be part of that match in some way, shape, or form. Probably going to be Chelsea, right? That's what I would assume. Or you can give me a heater and give me Bayley versus Bianca. I'm not going to complain either. I think that would be fucking hard. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Would I take it, though? Absolutely. On the opposite end, we have Jade, Meech, and Piper. And if we're doing this how I would think you should do it, which is like, think about Sweet 16, where you have like the underdog, right? Who get there, who gets to the championship, but they just don't have enough to get it covered. To where Meechin will probably win that. Meechin can go on next week and maybe face, either Naomi at a Naomi, Tiffany, or Elektra. Naomi and Tiffany have history there. Elektra may still win, she may not. Tiffany may still win. Cool. You have Meechin versus Tiffy. Meechin gets through there. Let's say Meechin faces Bayley in the finals. She just doesn't have enough to get it. I would love the underdog story, and that could be the build that helps Meechin get it, is that she has to take out Bayley, who is a credible champion, who will hold it, who's also been one of the champions, who also been one of the people to hold champions for the first time, too, because I think she was the first women's tag team champion, too, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it's somebody credible who can hold the belt and build a star. But the thing with that is that Bayley's a babyface, Meechin's a babyface. So I don't know exactly how that feud would work long term.
It doesn't have to be a feud. It could just be if it's the finals, it doesn't have to be a feud. It could just be a one-off match.
But how do we continue that afterwards? Let's say Meechin loses to Bayley. That's still a feud that you have to build in to help Meechin kind of like topple, Bayley and whatnot. Like,
well, okay, I think you're slightly overthinking it. Okay, so if Bayley won, let's say the finals is Bayley and Meechin. Meechin's just working her way up, unless you want to turn her heel, but they already have enough heels.
No.
So then Meechin's just going to work her way up while Bayley feuds with another heel.
With other people.
Then eventually loses, and then Meechin could be the next face to beat the heel that beat Bayley, in theory. But Meechin can also win. I want to hear what DT says, but now I'm looking at the bracket. Like Bayley won that first one. We got Bianca, Chelsea, Davenport. We could assume Bianca's not going to win, so it's either going to be Chelsea or Davenport, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the other bracket,
it'll be Chelsea.
It'll probably be Chelsea, which was one of my picks. Then the other bracket is Naomi, Stratton, Lopez. Naomi and Stratton are more than likely both going to be in that War Games match. So then you might assume Lopez will win. But if she's super green, because we haven't seen her work in a long time, a la B-Fab, like if she got her skills as honed as B-Fab, there's a chance that she wins, but she just loses the next round. And then the other bracket was Cargill, Meechin, and Piper, and I feel like all the universe is on board that Meechin is probably going to win that bracket.
What you got to do?
The finals is Meechin and Chelsea. It's a rematch of the dumpster match, and Meechin goes over to win the belt. The bottom bracket, Naomi, Tiffany, and Elektra. The good thing is that these are triple threats and not singles. And I know somebody literally just said, I think it was you, Jay. You just said you wish they were singles and not triples. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of these matches are going to get interfered in based on bigger storylines.
Correct.
So I have Candice and Nia coming out to quote unquote support Tiffy. Tiffy loses. And that furthers Tiffy needing to cash in on Nia later down the road.
Ooh, actually, you're right, but slight change.
And that's why I said they have, and I should have just put it in there because that's why I said they have the chance to do something so funny in the bottom bracket. And there was more to the idea, but I can't remember. So go ahead.
No, you're right.
You're
right. But Candice is she's going to quote unquote help Tiffany, but Tiffany's going to be distracted because she's upset with Candice trying to take her spotlight. Very similar to
Right.
what Kip Sabian is feeling with what Nick Wayne is feeling with Kip Sabian. If we're going to compare to AEW, and that's what's going to cost us. So no, DT's right. I think it's just two names are reversed. So yeah, because again, yeah, I think we already got the women's 5, so we know Candice isn't going to be. I feel like we can easily say Candice, Jade, Bianca, Naomi, and Bailey.
They're not winning.
They're not going to be the inaugural. So it's more than likely
You
going to
don't
be
need
Michin.
to. Yeah.
It's more than likely going to be Michin because it's a fan favorite.
Wait,
and
you said not Bailey?
not.
You don't. Bailey doesn't need to have.
I mean,
the
it
belt.
could be.
I
I
agree.
No, that was a mistake. I didn't mean to say Bailey.
Yeah, there
Bailey,
you go. Okay,
Bailey,
yeah.
No, Bailey could easily be that person. If I'm looking at it right now, it's Bailey in no order: Bailey, Chelsea, and Michin. If I'm looking at this on this bracket, based off of what we have left, those are the top 3.
But remember, I think last week I said that
you didn't want to have.
I would love Chelsea, but we don't want to have the gimmick of her being
exactly right.
The comedy title. We want somebody credible to have it.
Right.
So
it's Bailey.
Out of the 2, Bailey or Michin is probably what it's going to break down to.
At least that's my
that's the most
hypothesis
logical
or theory. So. And that is the having it be Bailey is perfectly fine to me. She's one of the 4 horsemen. She's paid all her dues. Michin could easily be the 3rd person that wins it. Or even Michin could be the 2nd person. You can still have a good face-to-face or, face versus face feud or whatever the fuck. But I'm also pro if Michin wins it, I wouldn't be upset either.
No, it's one of the 2. Either or. If Michin doesn't get it, it just makes her, you got to go. Let's push you now. If she doesn't get it, I expect a push for Michin. Put her in stories and shit to where she can really build herself up to where she can have it. To where if Michin won it at Mania, I'm okay with that. If Bailey wins it here and it's a build for Michin to get it at Mania, maybe not against Bailey, maybe somebody takes it from Bailey or whatever. But I think that should be the play here, to where Michin can have that belt at Mania. It would be a full fucking circle moment in Vegas. I think that'd be fucking dope.
Yeah, either she's the inaugural or I feel like it would be a big moment like that. It's one of the 2 for me, at least in my mind.
Well, that was the episode, guys. Thank you guys for checking in and tuning in with us and whatnot. Definitely hit us on all the socials. That's Twitter, X, Blue Sky. Subscribe on YouTube. TikTok. We're doing a lot of stuff over there as well. Once again, we appreciate everybody listening, but we're gonna get out of here. It's been real. Peace out.
Peace.
Too sweet.